Okay, this video is a book review. Here's the book called Irish Ways. There's a picture of it right there as well. It's by Ron Kavana here. It's a really nice book. I'll show you what I liked about it. It's 4 audio CDs, and this guy, Ron Kavana, he's a musician. And so, here's a 2 in front, there's a 2 in back. They all come into the book and the CDs come all together. So it's nice. You automatically get the audio book and the paper version of the book. And so he makes a whole bunch of songs. Half of the book is just listening to the songs, and they're very good. He's an Irish musician. And the Irish musicians are the ones who have maintained the traditions and the history of Ireland better than anyone else. There's pretty good reason why Queen Elizabeth, back around 1700, she ordered that all the Irish musicians be killed. And that's partly why you'll see, the Irish harp as such a big symbol of Ireland. It's a symbol of freedom. And that's what I really liked about this book. So it reminds me of some of these quotes, because I had just recently done a book review of this other book here. This one's called The Story We Carry in Our Bones, Irish History for Americans by Julianne Osborne McKnight. And she did a very good job. She's a PhD professor of Irish history, and she's very nice, and she loves Ireland. But there's still, being in a university, there's only so much she could say versus, a guy out drinking in the bar, and playing music. He's going to say a lot more personal things than a professor lady who has to be a little bit careful what she says to not ruffle feathers in the university system, okay? But anyways, her book was very good. It's more of historical facts and details, good for looking stuff up. His is more like stories, like my father's from Ireland, my uncles, my grandfather, they told me lots of stories. And I've read quite a bit about Irish history too, and I've traveled there a few times. And this is sort of the emotional version of Irish history. So there's a great quote by Zig Ziglar. Logic makes people think, and emotion makes them act. So very true. In addition, Zig Ziglar's got another great quote. Duty makes us do things well, but love helps us to do them beautifully. And that's what you get a sense. This is a work of love by this guy, Ron Kavana. He loves Ireland. Ireland is him, and this is a great job in a book. There's a picture of him that's right here in the book, too. He's a little bit of a fat guy. Probably eating too much junk food, but he's very nice, very good book. Let's see, it's 111 pages, pretty easy to get through it. You can see the side version of it is not that thick, but it's very enjoyable. He goes through a little bit of the old stuff, the Druids and all that, but it's mostly through the more recent stuff since 1700, let's say. All the different Irish rebellions, and he doesn't go much into the history. I'll give you some other. Here's a bunch of books of Ireland that I've read, recently. Irish Saved Civilization. I love that book by Thomas Cahill. That especially emphasized the role of the monks and the priests like St. Columba, Columcille, and what he did with starting the monasteries in the Book of Kells and whatnot. The Story We Carry in Our Bones. That's the one I just showed you about a lady professor. Very good. And that one goes through a lot of Druid stuff and ancient Ireland history. And that one goes up to 2016. These 2 books here, one of them is called The Great Tours, and that's sort of like, you want to see the DVD course of that. That's by Mark Connor. He also wrote Irish Identity, and he's good. He loves Ireland too. An author who loves what they're writing about, they make it more beautiful and enjoyable for the reader. Okay, I liked Mark Connor's Irish Identity better, because that's where he goes into more of the literature, and that's especially what I'm interested in. I love Oscar Wilde and Yeats and all these other Irish writers. Okay, so what else? I'm not as big a fan of some of the modern ones. Okay, what else did I like? Oh, here's the Paul Johnson history. That one, I'm going to do a separate book review on that one later. And that one, he's a little snooty because he's kind of English, and so I didn't like that one as much. Trinity, I really enjoyed it just because you're like living inside an Irish family. But, he's not Irish, the author, and he was a little bit overly negative about the church. I didn't like that. Let's see, what else is good here? So anyways, what would I say is if you're interested in literature, go with this one by Mark Connor. If you just want really old school history going all the way back to the early Druid stuff and all this Celtic history, this one's really good by McKnight. If you just want to enjoy one with a lot of songs, Kavana's is great. If you want to live inside a family history through, from 1700 on up, go to Trinity. If you want to hear a stuck-up English guy, even though I like Paul Johnson, I didn't like his Irish history that much. These are some books you can enjoy. So anyways, hope that's helpful. And what's the problem with Ireland now? Obviously, Ireland's got a lot of problems, but I think one of the most common ways that Western countries, I think, are being brought down is through not managing the rates of immigration, whereby if immigration comes in too fast and it comes in without jobs, and a plan and family connections for the incoming, then the society can be overwhelmed. And then they make new rules saying, oh, anybody who complains about it is a jerk or racist. But that's BS, because traditionally immigration was always controlled in some way that, jobs and food could be proportioned to the immigrants and societal traditions could be maintained. Whereas there seems to be a rate of immigration overwhelming the rate of ability to assimilate, and that's causing damage to societies. I mean, take a look at what's happening in France right now. So hopefully Ireland won't have the same fate. But, people need to be aware of it and should, do what they can to improve the situation. So anyways, I hope that's helpful.